Welcome. You're safe here. Let the room dim. Let the breath settle. And let your shoulders soften. Tonight, we slow everything down. If your mind keeps circling with anxiety, if your thoughts are racing, if a small ache of loneliness lingers at the edges, bring it all into the quiet. You don't have to carry it alone. We will move gently, like a small boat on calm water, guided by the promise that you are seen, known, and loved. I'll keep a soft, steady pace, simple words, short lines, an unhurried rhythm, so your heart can rest. We won't chase big ideas or arguments. We'll drift through a warm stream of scripture-shaped comfort, the voice that calls you by name, the hand that steadies you, the peace that settles deeper with every breath. This may help you rest, not by forcing sleep, but by creating a safe, constant hush for your soul. If you need a phrase to hold tonight, let it be this: "Hold me, Jesus." Whisper it as the inhale rises and the exhale falls. Let it anchor you like a light at the edge of shore. A short prayer: Jesus, meet this listener with kindness. Quiet the noise within and the noise around. Lift the weight from their chest. Wrap them in your nearness, strong, gentle, and steady. Give them a peace that stays. Amen. As we begin, feel free to share, softly, where you're watching from and what time it is. And if you want, a brief prayer request. I'll keep the reading calm and uninterrupted, staying close to the heart of Scripture so you can ease into stillness. When you're ready, loosen your jaw, release your brow, and let your breathing become slow and quiet. You are not alone. We'll go together now, one gentle breath at a time.
Peace in His presence. You ease your breath and let the room grow simple. The hour asks for nothing loud. You place your worries like small stones on the shore and step back from them. You remember a quiet path where the grass bends and a low wind moves through the trees. You are not sprinting there. You are strolling. The ground is steady. The light is warm. You do not need to perform. You are received before you speak. You are held before you ask. You sense a nearness that does not weigh you down. Gentle, steady, patient. The kind of nearness that watches over you without crowding your thoughts. If your chest feels tight, let it loosen by degrees. If your shoulders are tense, let them settle a little more with each breath. You are safe. Nothing urgent must be solved in this moment. You are allowed to rest while good work continues on your behalf. You recall how storms can rage and voices can rise, yet one word calms the waves. You picture a hand extended, not pushing, not pulling, simply there, strong enough to hold oceans, tender enough to lift a sparrow. That hand is near you now. You do not need to chase it. You need only notice it. The calm you long for does not begin outside. It begins with presence, with being known, with being loved without condition. You think of the table where there is a place set in advance. Your name is known. Your place is not borrowed. You sit without fear of being turned away. A candle glows, small and faithful. The flame does not shout. It simply stays. You breathe with it, slow, bright, and sure. Your thoughts scatter and return, but the light keeps its rhythm, and your heart learns it too. If the night brings old echoes, you do not argue with them. You acknowledge them and let them pass. You anchor to a voice that has guided wanderers. comforted the weary, lifted those who sink. You need not manufacture courage. You need only lean. The path ahead may curve in darkness, but your next step is lit. You do not need the whole map tonight. You only need the next quiet step. Let the room become a sanctuary, not because of a perfect silence, but because of a steady presence. Let your bed be like soft pasture. Let your breathing match the hush of a gentle stream. If you sense a watchful care over you, that is no accident. Tender mercy has a way of arriving without fanfare. You are not forgotten. You are seen. You are carried. When fear returns, if fear wanders back, it doesn't mean you failed at resting. Fear often returns to places it has visited before. You greet it without welcoming it in. You notice the tremor, the quick thought, the what-ifs that multiply. You are not alone in this. Many have breathed through midnight and found peace again. You can too. You are allowed to need reassurance. You are allowed to ask for help. You remember the shepherd who knows each sheep by name. The path can be narrow, and the valley can dim the edges of sight, but the guide does not vanish. Staff and rod, protection and direction. The path is not empty. It is accompanied. If shadows lengthen, it is not because you have been left. Sometimes the shortest way to morning still passes through a dark stretch. Your steps, however small, are still forward. If your mind rehearses worst-case scenes, you gently set the script down. You choose a simpler line. I am held. You let the phrase settle where panic usually lives. You slow enough to feel the mattress beneath you, the blanket along your arm, the weight of your head. These small anchors welcome your body back to this moment. Fear thrives in imagined futures. Peace lives in the present, where care is near and faithful. You think of birds that do not draft budgets for tomorrow's wind, yet they are fed. You think of fields clothed in beauty that they did not weave. You are not less cared for than these. Your needs are not ignored. Provision may take a shape you did not predict, but it will not fail the purpose it was sent to meet. Tonight, you are not asked to solve every question. You are invited to rest while answers ripen. If memories sting, you treat them as you would a bruise, tenderly, without pressing. You do not deny the pain. You also do not crown it ruler of the room. You let a kinder voice speak over it. You are not your worst day. You are not your loudest fear. You are more than what went wrong. You are held by one who wastes nothing and forgets no cry for help. Now imagine dawn already on its way, though you cannot see it yet. The horizon is learning its first color. Fresh mercy travels with the morning like soft light spilling over a windowsill. Fear can last for a night. It does not own the sunrise. Your breath continues its slow work. Your heartbeat learns the new tempo. Fear might knock again. Peace will answer before you have to. Rest beneath his wings. The night stretches quiet and wide, and you can almost hear the stillness hum. Outside, perhaps rain whispers against the glass, or the wind moves through unseen trees. Inside, everything softens. This is where the soul begins to unclench. You have run enough today. You have tried to hold everything together, and now someone else will hold you. The same hands that shape the stars are the ones that shield you tonight. You picture wings, a shelter, not a cage. They arch over you like warmth over embers, a canopy woven of mercy. You breathe under them, steady and small. You no longer have to prove that you are worthy of care. You already are. The one who covers you does not grow weary. The refuge you seek is not a hiding place born of fear, but a home born of love. There is a rhythm beneath those wings, the pulse of life that never stops keeping watch. You hear it faintly, as if through layers of light and time. It tells you you are not forgotten. Even in silence, you are seen. Even when you feel unseen by the world, heaven remembers your name with tenderness. Sometimes, the day leaves its bruises. Harsh words cling, tasks remain unfinished, and the body aches. Yet even here, grace bends low. It doesn't erase the day, it redeems it. The wounds that once marked defeat begin to glow as signs of survival. The breath you take now is proof that light still chooses you. If your thoughts drift to failure, bring them back gently, like guiding a child home. The Lord is not counting your missteps tonight. He is counting your breaths. Each one is a prayer that does not need words. The rhythm of your lungs becomes worship, unspoken but understood. You don't need eloquence to be heard. You only need honesty. You might remember a verse. He shall cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you shall take refuge. His truth shall be your shield and buckler. Let that settle like warm oil over your mind. There is no demand here, only invitation. Let the shield of truth be the quiet knowing that you are safe, that no night lasts forever, and that protection is not far. It surrounds you. In this resting place, time begins to blur. You forget the hour. You forget the list. You remember only that you are loved without condition. You may not have done everything right, but still, grace lingers. The covering does not thin when you doubt. It deepens. It waits patiently until your heart softens enough to feel it again. Under these wings, the world cannot rush you. Here, you can be small without shame. You can breathe without fear. You can let go without falling. Every sound grows muffled, every worry distant. What remains is presence, steady, faithful, and near. If sleep begins to tiptoe closer, let it come. If tears form quietly, let them fall. You are not weak for resting. You are wise. Rest is not an interruption to faith. It is an expression of it. You trust enough to stop fighting the current and let mercy carry you downstream. And as you drift, know this: you are not holding on to Jesus tonight. He is holding on to you. When strength fails, there are nights when even the smallest movement feels heavy, when lifting your own thoughts seems too much. Tonight might be one of those nights. The strength you once relied on, the confidence, the drive, the endurance feels faint, like smoke dissolving in air. But weakness here is not failure. It is the invitation for a gentler strength to take over. You don't need to rise. You only need to rest. You remember the words once spoken to weary hearts. My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. They are not words of judgment, but of relief. Strength is not a performance. It is the quiet miracle that happens when you stop pretending to be invincible. You are allowed to collapse into grace. If your body aches, if your heart feels drained, imagine the one who neither slumbers nor sleeps, sitting beside your bed. No urgency, no scolding, only patience. You are not a burden to him. You are his beloved. You do not need to explain why you are tired. He already knows. Even your sigh is a prayer that reaches him. The night has its own kind of worship. It's not loud. It's not filled with hands raised high or songs of triumph. It's the worship of endurance, the small act of trusting that dawn will come, even when the world feels dim. When strength fails, faith becomes a whisper. Hold me, Jesus. And that is enough. You think of those who fell before you, prophets, poets, wanderers, who also reached the end of themselves. Elijah beneath the broom tree, asking only to sleep. David weeping until he had no tears left. Even Christ trembling in the garden, saying, "Not my will, but yours." None were rejected. All were met with mercy. You are not less spiritual for being human. The Creator who formed galaxies also formed your limits. He delights not in your endurance alone, but in your willingness to lean when you cannot stand. Even in stillness, even in tears, you are reflecting His image, because you are trusting love over self-reliance. Let your exhaustion speak honestly. Tell Him you are empty. Tell Him you have nothing left to offer tonight but your presence. You will not be turned away. The shepherd tends to the sheep who lie down. The vine sustains the branch that no longer strives to bear fruit on its own. Life flows again when you stop forcing it. If memories of failure echo in your thoughts, you do not need to defend yourself. Grace has already spoken the final word. Where shame accuses, love answers. The past cannot hold you hostage when the future has already been written in compassion. Let that truth rest beneath your ribs until it steadies your heartbeat. You do not need to imagine yourself standing tall again just yet. The miracle begins while you are still lying down. It begins in the inhale that returns after the sob, in the tear that signals release. You are not the source of your healing. You are the space where it happens. Now, close your eyes. Picture a horizon beyond the night, light spreading like quiet forgiveness. You will rise again, not by willpower, but by love. Until then, be still. Let every breath say what words cannot. When strength fails, you hold me, Jesus. Through the valley there are paths that only moonlight sees, trails where even hope seems to walk with quieter steps. The valley feels endless at first, shadows leaning close, silence pressing against your thoughts. You look for landmarks, for signs, for voices that promise a way out, and sometimes none appear. But even here, the shepherd walks beside you, not ahead, not behind, but side. You may not see him clearly, but you can sense him in the way the air softens, in the steadiness of each slow breath that keeps finding you. The valley is not a punishment, it's a passage. You are not being forgotten here. You are being guided through. Every shadow, every echo, every tear is counted and carried. The psalm whispers its old comfort. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. The word don't promise an escape. They promise companionship. You don't rush through the valley. You move at the pace of grace. One step, one breath, one whispered prayer at a time. You can talk to him here. You don't need formal words. You can simply breathe the ache, and it will be understood. The valley has a strange beauty. It strips away noise. It teaches you to listen. Every echo is a reminder that you are not speaking into emptiness. Heaven listens, even when it seems far. You might remember seasons when the sun was bright, when laughter was easy. Those moments are not gone. They are seeds, buried deep in the soil of your soul. The valley waters them in silence. Growth is happening where you cannot see it. The dark soil does not mean death. It means beginning. If fear crawls close again, you do not need to shout to push it back. You whisper truth instead. You are with me. That is your sword, your light, your steady ground. Fear cannot thrive where faith breathes gently. You do not fight to win. You rest to endure. The Lord is not testing you. He is holding you steady through the passage. Sometimes the walls of the valley echo old guilt or grief. You let them speak, but you do not let them stay. You forgive yourself for not being stronger. You forgive others for not knowing how to help. Forgiveness becomes the torch that lights the path forward. It does not erase the past. It redeems it, one quiet mercy at a time. You feel a hand on your shoulder, not a vision, not a fantasy, just the awareness of being known. You are not unseen here. The same love that built mountains is gentle enough to guide your trembling steps. The shepherd is not shouting instructions from afar. He walks in your pace, whispering peace in the pauses between heartbeats. If tears come, let them. They water the ground beneath you. They tell the story of faith that endures even when words fail. You don't need to hurry to the mountaintop. Valleys have their own holy work, teaching you that peace is not found in escaping the dark, but in finding light within it. And slowly, a change comes. The air grows lighter, the shadows thin. Somewhere ahead, dawn begins to draw a thin gold line across the sky. You realize you've been moving forward all along, not by your strength, but by his presence. The valley is not your home. It's your passage. And even here, you were never alone. The still waters, you come upon quietness, the kind that doesn't need to announce itself. The valley behind you fades into distance, and ahead you hear the hush of water moving over smooth stones. It's not loud or proud. It's patient. You follow the sound as if it's calling you home. And there, beneath the open sky, you see the stream. Clear, calm, unhurried. The kind of peace that doesn't demand your attention, but restores it. You kneel by the edge. The water reflects more than your face. It shows you who you are when you're not trying to be anything. The ripples blur your reflection, reminding you that perfection was never the goal. You were made for belonging, not performance. For being held, not for holding the world on your shoulders. The shepherd leads you here for a reason. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. These words are not a distant promise. They are happening now, in this very breath. Restoration is not a single event. It's a rhythm, a slow, gentle return to peace every time you forget how to rest. You cup your hands and let the water run through your fingers. It's cool, alive, endlessly giving. It asks for nothing in return. Grace works like that. It flows whether or not you feel deserving. It moves quietly through guilt and fear, washing away what you were never meant to carry. You let it. You let go. All around you, life softens. The grass bends in slow rhythm. The trees sway with unspoken praise. You realize that rest is not the absence of motion. It's movement without striving. The whole world keeps breathing in harmony with its maker, and you are invited to join. There is room for you here, always. If you've spent days chasing validation, tonight you can stop running. You can rest beside the still waters of assurance. You are loved, not for what you produce, but for who you are. You don't need to prove that you deserve to stay. The shepherd brought you here himself. That is proof enough. You listen as the water murmurs over stones, steady and timeless. Its song has no words, but you understand it anyway. It tells you that time is safe now, that you don't need to hurry. It tells you that peace isn't a luxury, it's your birthright in grace. You breathe that in, deeper than before, until your whole body hums with quiet relief. If your mind tries to wander back to worry, you invite it to look again at the stream. Every ripple is a reminder that calm isn't constant perfection. It's the gentle returning to stillness after each disturbance. You don't fail when you drift. You heal when you come back. You rest your palms on the grass, feeling the pulse of life beneath your fingers. The shepherd sits nearby, not speaking, just being, the kind of company that asks for nothing and gives everything. You realize you don't have to keep searching for him. He's already here, beside the still waters, within the stillness of your heart. And as you close your eyes, you let the sound of the stream become your lullaby. It says without words, you are safe, you are loved, you are held. Tonight, that is enough. The gentle voice. The stream fades into distance, but its calm lingers in you. The air feels softer now, as if even the night has taken a slower breath. Somewhere in that quiet, you begin to hear something. Not loud, not sharp, just a whisper that seems to come from both within and around you. It doesn't rush or demand. It waits. You recognize it before you understand it. The gentle voice. It isn't thunder or command. It doesn't arrive with spectacle or fear. It speaks the way love does, through patience. The words are few, but they carry weight enough to still the sea inside you. Peace, be still. That's all it says. And yet the sound ripples through everything. The noise of your mind begins to fold. The clutter dissolves. And for a moment, there's nothing left but calm awareness. You remember Elijah standing on the mountain. Wind, earthquake, fire, all fierce, all loud, and yet God was in none of them. Then came a still small voice, and that was enough to make the prophet cover his face in awe. The voice you hear now carries that same tenderness. Powerful, not because it shouts, but because it knows you by name. Sometimes you mistake silence for absence. But this silence is presence disguised. You don't have to strain to hear it. The gentle voice isn't trying to hide. It's waiting for you to quiet down enough to notice. It speaks through scripture remembered at just the right moment, through peace that has no logical source, through the sense that somehow, despite everything, you are safe. The gentle voice doesn't keep a record of wrongs. It doesn't replay your failures like echoes in the dark. Instead, it rewrites the story in mercy. It says, you are forgiven. It says, I am with you always. It says, nothing can separate you from my love. And though these are words you may have heard before, tonight they sound new because they are being spoken directly to you. You let those sentences settle into your chest like soft rain on dry earth. Each drop finds a place that needed watering. The more you listen, the more your body unclenches. You stop performing even in your prayers. You stop explaining, stop defending, stop running. You just listen. And in that listening, you begin to heal. If you've spent the day surrounded by voices demanding more of you, do more, fix more, be more, the gentle voice becomes a kind of refuge. It tells you there's nothing left to prove, that being loved is not a task, it's a truth. You rest in it, the way a child rests against a parent's chest, steady heartbeat, quiet safety, unearned belonging. The voice reminds you that even now, when you feel small or uncertain, heaven leans close. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they shall not overflow you. The promise hums in your memory, wrapping you in warmth. The gentle voice never forgets its tone. It never grows impatient. It waits through every noise until your soul remembers how to listen again. You lie there, barely moving, and realize that the voice is not only speaking, it is singing. The melody is slow, without words, woven through breath and heartbeat. It's been singing over your entire life. You're just finally still enough to hear it. And in this moment, as your eyelids grow heavier, the words return, not from outside, but from within you now. Hold me, Jesus. The prayer and the answer have become one sound. In the morning light, the night begins to thin. Though your eyes are still closed, somewhere beyond the quiet, dawn starts to breathe. It doesn't arrive with noise or urgency, just a pale gold rising at the edge of the world. You sense it before you see it. The room feels warmer, softer, as if the light itself were whispering your name. Morning doesn't rush you awake. It welcomes you slowly. You might not feel ready to face the day, and that's all right. Grace does. You don't have to leap into motion. You can linger here, between darkness and day, letting peace teach you how to begin again. The gentle voice you heard in the night still lingers, now carried by the morning breeze. It says, "My mercies are new every morning." It says, "I will never leave you nor forsake you." These are not abstract promises. They are real, unfolding right now. The same presence that held you through the dark now holds you in the dawn. You breathe in the freshness of the new day. The air tastes different, clean, awake, almost holy. You realize that every sunrise is a small resurrection. Everything that felt heavy just hours ago seems lighter under this light. The worries that haunted your thoughts lose their shape in the brightness. What remains is faith, simple and soft. If you're afraid the peace will vanish once the day begins, remember this: peace is not something you wake up to. It's something you carry with you. The same hands that held you through the valley will guide you through the morning. The shepherd who guarded your rest now goes before you into the day. You are not stepping into chaos. You are walking in companionship. You glance at the window, where the sky blushes with new color. Birds begin to sing, aware of how their simple music heals the heart. You realize that worship doesn't need an audience. It only needs awareness. Even the light praises, simply by being light. You can do the same. Exist in gratitude. Breathe in grace. Move gently through what comes next. You think of how many mornings you've seen, and how many you almost missed because of fear or hurry. But this one feels different. You are still. You are unhurried. You are fully here. And that, in itself, is worship. Gratitude becomes the language of your breathing. Every inhale says thank you. Every exhale says I trust you. As the light grows stronger, you stretch your fingers, your shoulders, your heart. You're reminded that life itself is a gift renewed each morning. You don't have to earn it. You just have to receive it. You whisper softly, "Hold me, Jesus," not as a plea this time, but as a rhythm of trust. You are already held. The morning light doesn't erase the night. It redeems it. Every shadow that once frightened you now glows at the edges, framed by kindness. The story continues, and you are still in it, guided by grace, strengthened by rest. And so, before you move, before you speak, you linger a little longer in this holy hush. You are safe. You are loved. You are ready. Not because everything is perfect, but because you are held perfectly. You stretch your fingers into the morning light, and for a moment, you think of all the times you've tried to hold everything together. Plans, people, expectations, your own fragile hope. The weight of it has always been too much for one pair of hands. But tonight, and every night after, you remember this truth. There are hands far stronger, far gentler, that have never let go of you. You've seen them in quiet mercies, the moment the panic eased without reason, the friend who reached out when no one else knew, the breath that came when you thought it wouldn't. Those are his fingerprints. They are proof that even when you slipped, you were never falling alone. The scriptures say, "No one can snatch them out of my hand." That promise isn't poetic comfort, it's reality. You've wandered, stumbled, doubted, even run, and still those hands stayed. They did not tighten in anger or pull away in disappointment. They simply stayed, firm, open, ready. You think of the hands that touched lepers, that broke bread for the hungry, that lifted the sinking Peter from the waves. They are not afraid of your weakness. They do not recoil from your need. They know your frame, and they call it good. You are not a burden. You are beloved. Sometimes, you imagine yourself slipping beneath a water of worry, the surface closing above your head. But then, through the blur, comes the same touch, a hand reaching, steady, unhurried. It doesn't scold you for drowning. It rescues you without a word. You rise, coughing and gasping, and realize you were never out of his reach. There is no distance too far, no darkness too thick. If I make my bed in hell, behold, you are there. Those words from the psalmist echo softly now, reminding you that nothing can sever what love has sealed. So tonight, as you rest, Unclench your fingers. Let go of what you've been gripping so tightly. Outcomes, fears, guilt, control. Your job was never to hold everything together. It was to be held. The hands that shaped the mountains are beneath you now. The hands that blessed the children cradle you still. They will not grow weary. They will not release you halfway. Let the world turn as it will. You are steady because He is steady. You are safe because He is strong. The hands that hold the stars are the same that hold you. Always have, always will. Even in the deepest dark, light knows where to find you. It doesn't need directions. It doesn't hesitate. It comes like morning mist over quiet hills, slow, soft, certain. You don't chase it. It arrives. You might have thought you lost your way, but light has a perfect memory. It remembers every face it has ever touched, and yours is one of them. Sometimes you sit in the stillness, surrounded by shadows that feel endless. You wonder if the night has grown thicker, if maybe you've wandered too far. But then, faint at first, a glow appears. It's not a spotlight, it's a candle. A single, brave flame that defies the dark by simply existing. That light is grace. It doesn't shout. It just stays. You remember what the gospel says. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not comprehend it. The verse doesn't promise the absence of darkness, only that it never wins. The dark can press close, but it can't swallow what belongs to heaven. Light doesn't always fix what you see. Sometimes it changes how you see it. What once looked impossible softens under its warmth. The mountain doesn't vanish, but you start to see the path carved through it. You realize the distance wasn't as endless as it felt. Hope, small as a spark, begins to breathe again. If your thoughts wander to mistakes, if shame tries to dim the glow, remember, light doesn't expose you to humiliate. It reveals you to heal. It touches every hidden wound, not to wound again, but to restore. You don't need to fear what it uncovers. What grace reveals, it redeems. There's a reason the first words spoken in creation were "Let there be light." Before life, before form, before understanding, light. It was God's first act of love, and it's His ongoing act toward you. Every dawn is the echo of that first command, repeating over your life, "Let there be light." So if you wake tonight in worry, if you feel lost in the shadows of memory or fear, know this: the light hasn't forgotten you. It bends, it searches, it travels through everything to reach you again. You do not need to climb toward it. Just open the window of your heart. Soon, that same light will wrap around you like morning after rain. It will rest on your face and whisper the same quiet truth it has told the weary for centuries. You are still loved. You are still found. You are still mine. There are moments when heaven feels quiet, when prayers hang in the air, unanswered, and the only sound is your own heartbeat. Silence can feel like distance, but often it's the opposite. It's not that God has gone away, it's that He is closer than sound can carry. The silence isn't empty, it's full of presence. You just need to listen differently. You've spoken your worries so many times that the words have worn thin. Tonight, there are no more words left, and that's all right. Stillness has a language of its own. When you can't pray, your breathing prays for you. Each inhale becomes a reaching, each exhale a release. Heaven understands both. In Scripture, silence was never absence. It was preparation. Elijah heard God not in the wind, or the quake, or the fire, but in the still small voice that followed. The silence was the doorway, not the delay. Maybe that's what this quiet is too, a holy pause between asking and answering. You start to realize that not all comfort comes through sound. Sometimes peace enters like a hush that lowers its hand gently over chaos. You can feel it, subtle, steady, like calm spreading through water after a stone is dropped. You don't need to fill the silence with noise. You can rest in it. There is beauty in this simplicity. No striving, no explaining, just being. Silence doesn't demand performance. It only invites presence. You are safe to simply exist. The one who made sound also made stillness, and he speaks fluently in both. When your heart aches for a word, listen for a warmth instead. When your mind begs for a sign, notice the soft pulse of peace beneath your ribs. Those are his replies, quiet but unmistakable. Not every answer arrives in thunder. Some arrive in tenderness so deep that only silence can hold it. The psalm says, "Be still and know that I am God." Not be busy, not be certain, just be still. Stillness isn't resignation, it's recognition. It's the soul bowing in quiet trust when sight can't confirm what faith already knows. So tonight, if heaven seems quiet, don't rush to fill the space. Sit inside it. Let the quiet shape you. Let the hush be the arms that hold you. Silence is not the absence of his voice. It's the sound of his nearness. And if you listen closely, beyond the breath, beyond the heartbeats, you'll hear what the silence has been saying all along. I am here. I have always been here. There are burdens so quiet that even those closest to you can't see them. They hide beneath polite smiles and steady tones, invisible but heavy. You've carried them longer than you realize. Expectations, regrets, what-ifs, and self-blame that cling like dust to your spirit. Tonight, you're not asked to fix them. You're invited to set them down. The one who said, "Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest," still means it. His rest is not a task to complete. It's a release to receive. You don't need to earn the right to exhale. You just need to trust that the hands reaching for your load are capable of carrying it. Picture it, a hill, quiet and dim, with dawn still waiting behind the horizon. You lay the bundle down, every failure, every fear, every silent disappointment. The ground beneath it doesn't protest. It accepts it all, just as grace does. You straighten slowly, realizing you feel lighter, almost fragile in your freedom. That's how healing begins, by letting go, not by trying harder. You've spent years trying to be enough, for others, for yourself, even for God. But love was never a measuring tape. It was always an embrace. You were never meant to live bowed under the weight of proving your worth. The cross already declared your worth beyond question. Sometimes you feel guilty for resting. You think you must earn permission to stop. But grace whispers, you can stop now. The work of being loved is already finished. The burden of being perfect was never yours to bear. You were made to walk upright, heart unburdened, head lifted toward peace. As you breathe, notice the small miracles happening without your effort. The steady beat in your chest, the lungs filling and emptying on their own. Life itself has been holding you up while you tried to hold up the world. Maybe it's time to match your soul to that rhythm. Inhale peace, exhale weight. It's not weakness to let go, it's wisdom. Even Jesus, beneath the cross, stumbled and needed help to carry it. Strength is not pretending you don't need rest. It's trusting the one who provides it. You can whisper it aloud now. I release it. The words don't need to be dramatic. They only need to be honest. You release the unseen weight, and in return, you receive something lighter, grace that lifts from within. Soon, you'll notice the difference. The thoughts that once crowded your mind move slower. The ache in your chest loosens. The world feels less sharp. Nothing around you has changed, yet everything inside you has shifted. You are carried now, not carrying. And as you drift towards sleep, you sense a truth that settles deeper than all the noise. The burden was never yours alone, and it never will be again. The world feels far away now. Its noise, its rush, its endless demands. You can almost hear waves somewhere in the distance, steady and soft. They aren't crashing, they're whispering. You walk toward the sound, barefoot over cool sand, guided only by the rhythm of calm itself. The air smells faintly of salt and new beginnings. Every step you take loosens the hold of the day a little more. You reach the edge where the water meets the shore. Foam curls around your toes, gentle and cool, erasing your footprints as fast as they're made. It feels like grace, soft, constant, forgiving. You realize that this is what peace is, not the absence of movement, but movement that doesn't harm. The tide comes, the tide goes, and still the sea remains. You think of the verse, "He leads me beside the still waters." Maybe this is what those waters look like when they touch eternity, steady, alive, patient. Peace isn't something you build, it's something you return to. It's been waiting here, on this shore, every time you thought you lost it. The horizon stretches wide, endless and quiet. You can't see the other side, but somehow that doesn't trouble you anymore. You've learned that peace doesn't always come with answers. It comes with presence. The one who calms storms with a word is here too, sitting beside you on the sand. He doesn't speak much because he doesn't need to. His nearness is the language. You close your eyes, and the waves continue their slow song, in and out, near and away. You begin to match their rhythm without trying. Your breath aligns with the sea. You are no longer striving against it. You are moving with it. That's how the soul heals, when it finally stops fighting peace. You remember how often you've tried to control everything, to steer your own storms. But this shore teaches you something different. Surrender is not defeat. It's coming home. The sea doesn't need your effort to keep flowing. Peace doesn't need your will to keep working. You are safe enough to rest. The sound of the waves becomes softer, almost like a lullaby. You imagine the water washing away what still clings. Fear, guilt, worry, leaving only what is true and light. The ocean doesn't take what matters. It only removes what burdens. You breathe deeply and let it. Now, as the wind lifts through your hair, You realize something sacred. Peace was never something you had to chase. It was something that had already found you. The waves were always coming for you, patiently, faithfully, like mercy returning with every tide. And as the last light fades behind the horizon, you hear it clearly now, whispered through the surf, carried by eternity itself. You are safe. You are loved. You are home. You step away from the shore and follow a narrow path lined with wildflowers that open even in the dark. The air grows warmer, scented with earth and rain. Ahead, a small gate creaks open on its own, leading into a hidden garden. It's quiet, but alive. The kind of quiet that hums with life instead of emptiness. You cross the threshold and feel your heartbeat slow, as if the very soil were teaching you how to rest. The garden isn't perfect. Some leaves are torn, some petals fading, yet nothing here feels wasted. Every broken branch shelters something new. It reminds you that peace isn't about perfection, it's about belonging, even in the unfinished places. Grace grows in soil like this, wild, humble, beautiful because it dares to bloom again. You find a bench under an olive tree and sit. The wind drifts through the branches, and you hear a soft rustle that sounds almost like a prayer. You remember another garden, one where Jesus prayed until his tears mixed with the ground. That night was heavy with sorrow, yet even there, love did not leave. If that garden became holy ground, so can this one. Here, the rhythm of the world slows to match the rhythm of your breath. A nearby fountain murmurs softly, its water spilling over smooth stone. You realize that rest is not stillness without sound. It's harmony between body and spirit. You don't have to force it. You only need to be present long enough to receive it. You lean back, eyes half closed, and notice the small lights of fireflies flickering between leaves. They remind you of grace again, small, steady, and enough to guide you through the dark. You don't need the whole garden illuminated. You only need the next step lit. That's all faith has ever asked of you. The scriptures whisper, he gives his beloved sleep, not as a command, but as a gift. Tonight, that promise becomes flesh in your breathing, your heartbeat, your stillness. Sleep isn't escape, it's trust. It's surrender in the safest hands. If your thoughts wander to unfinished plans or lingering guilt, picture yourself placing them in the soil beside you. The garden knows what to do with them. It turns what was heavy into nourishment. What you release here will return someday as peace. You close your eyes and feel a breeze move through the trees, brushing against your face like a quiet blessing. Every sound in this place seems to agree with one truth. You are not alone. You are loved by the one who tends this garden, the same one who tends your heart. The night deepens, and the stars bloom overhead like distant flowers. The garden sleeps now, and so do you. Under watchful care, beneath the canopy of grace, you finally rest. Night has fully settled, and the house around you is quiet. The world outside is wrapped in silver darkness, moonlight spilling gently through clouds, rain whispering against glass. In the corner, a small lamp glows beside the window. Its light isn't bright, but it's steady, enough to make the shadows kind. You sit near it, drawn to its warmth, and realize that peace often looks just like this. a single light, faithful through the night. You remember the verse, "Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path." Not a blazing fire, not a floodlight, just a lamp, enough to guide one step at a time. That's how grace works. It doesn't overwhelm, it accompanies. You don't need to see the whole journey. You only need to see where love is leading next. Outside the window, raindrops slide down the glass in quiet lines. They trace stories you don't need to read because the meaning is already written in your heart. You are safe. Every drop that falls becomes part of a song older than fear. The world is being washed while you rest. The same rain that feeds the earth refreshes you too. You lift your gaze and see the faint reflection of your face in the window. You don't look tired anymore. The soft glow has gentled your features. Maybe that's what being held looks like, not perfection, but peace. You don't have to fix the image, you just let it be. The lamp flickers for a moment and then steadies again. You smile. Even light needs to breathe. So do you. You match your rhythm to its quiet pulse, brightening, softening, never going out. This is how faith survives the dark, not by never trembling, but by refusing to stop shining. You think of all the nights before when you sat in this same quiet, worried about tomorrow. Yet here you are, still breathing, still kept, still carried. The lamp has burned through every storm. So has grace, so has love. If doubt tries to whisper, let the light answer for you. It doesn't argue, it simply stays. The glow on your skin is the language of presence. It says what words can't. I am here, I am near. You are held. You lean closer to the window. The reflection fades, and beyond the glass, the world glimmers with quiet promise. Somewhere, dawn is already stirring, unseen but certain. You don't have to hurry it. The lamp will stay until the morning comes. You rest your head on the chair and close your eyes. The glow covers you like a prayer, wrapping the room in warmth. You don't know when sleep begins. You only know the last thing you hear, the soft hum of peace, steady as a heartbeat, whispering through the quiet. You are loved. You are home. There are words you can hear only when everything else grows quiet. They aren't loud or clever. They come like breath, soft and weightless, carrying warmth instead of weight. You might not even catch them at first, but then, through the still air, something moves. Tender, near, familiar. It's grace, whispering your name. Grace doesn't rush in like thunder. It slips through the smallest cracks, the ones pride can't reach. It enters through humility, through need, through the sigh you didn't know was a prayer. It doesn't wait for you to be ready. It arrives when you're too tired to resist. You don't chase grace. You're found by it. You remember the story of the lost sheep, the shepherd leaving 99 behind just to bring one home. That story was never about numbers. It was about love that doesn't calculate worth. The whisper you hear tonight is the same voice that called across valleys and centuries, saying, I've come for you. Grace doesn't erase what happened. It redeems it. It doesn't pretend you never fell. It lifts you where you landed. The whisper says, you are forgiven. It says, you are free. It says, you don't have to keep punishing yourself for what I've already carried. The sound is small, but it fills the whole room. You've heard louder voices, shame, fear, comparison, but they don't last. They burn out. The whisper of grace endures because it speaks truth in love. It doesn't need volume. It has authority. Even your doubts grow quiet when it speaks. Sometimes grace speaks through memory, a kindness you didn't deserve, a moment you should have broken but didn't, a peace that came from nowhere. Each is a reminder that love keeps finding new ways to reach you. You can't out-sin mercy. You can't outrun it either. You close your eyes and listen. The whisper grows clearer. You are mine. The words don't echo. They sink. They land deep, right where your self-doubt used to live. The room around you feels lighter now, as if the air itself were smiling. Grace doesn't need your permission to stay, but it waits for your surrender. You don't need to perform to keep it. You just need to breathe and believe it. Grace doesn't bargain. It gives, and it gives again. You rest back into that sound until it becomes your heartbeat. Every pulse of blood through your veins feels like the same message repeating in rhythm. You are loved. You are loved. You are loved. And just before sleep claims you fully, the whisper fades into silence, but the meaning remains. You don't need to hear it again to know it's true. Grace doesn't leave when the room grows quiet. It lives inside you now, forever whispering where words can't reach. The night is long, but not lonely. Somewhere beyond what you can see, a song moves through the dark. You don't know when it began. It feels older than memory, woven into creation itself. It's gentle, low, and steady, almost like a hum beneath the stars. You close your eyes and realize this is the shepherd's song. It doesn't need instruments or melody. Its rhythm is kindness. Its chorus is care. Every beat of your heart joins it. Every slow breath becomes a note. You are not listening from a distance. You are part of the song. The shepherd sings over his flock, and you are among them, safe beneath his watch. You remember what's written. He will quiet you with his love. He will rejoice over you with singing. The thought almost feels too tender to believe that heaven sings over you. But it's true. This is no lullaby for saints. It's for the weary, the wandering, the wounded. The shepherd doesn't wait for perfection to start the song. He begins right where you are. As you listen, the tune shifts, sometimes soft as wind through grass, sometimes steady as rain on rooftops. It finds the cracks in your heart and fills them, not with noise, but with healing. You realize you've been longing for this sound your whole life. The voice that doesn't demand, doesn't measure, doesn't leave. The shepherd's song tells stories older than sorrow. It remembers when you laughed freely, when you trusted easily, when fear was still a stranger. It calls those memories home. The notes travel through time, finding every place you felt alone and rewriting the silence with music. You think of David, who sang to calm Saul's troubled spirit. The same melody runs through tonight. It doesn't scold your restlessness. It soothes it. It reminds you that peace is not earned. It's given, sung gently into your soul until you believe it again. If you've been wandering, unsure of where you belong, the shepherd's song becomes a compass. It doesn't shout directions. It draws you closer. Every line hums the same refrain. I know you. I see you. Come home. You lie still, and the song wraps around you like warm wool. The world outside fades, the noise, the worry, the waiting. You feel smaller now, but not in a fearful way. Small like a child held close, like one who knows they don't have to be strong to be safe. Soon, the song blends with your breathing until you can't tell where it ends and you begin. That's how the shepherd sings, until your fear forgets its name and your heart learns a new one. Beloved. And as you drift, you realize this song will not stop when you sleep. It will go on through the night, circling your dreams, guarding your rest, whispering over and over in the tongue of eternity. You are mine. You are safe. You are home. You awaken in the middle of the night, not from fear, but from a quiet sense of wonder. The room is dim, wrapped in silver light that spills softly through the curtains. You sit up, and for a moment, it feels like the sky itself is leaning closer. The stars glimmer like watchful eyes, calm and patient. It's as if heaven has opened a window just for you. You walk toward it slowly. The air near the glass is cool and alive. Outside, the world sleeps, streets hushed, trees swaying gently, clouds drifting like thoughts passing unspoken. There's no noise here, only stillness that breathes. You press your palm to the glass, and it feels like touching eternity. You remember Jacob, resting with a stone for a pillow, dreaming of a ladder reaching from earth to heaven. Angels ascending and descending, the divine close enough to touch. That dream wasn't just for him. It was a promise for all who feel alone beneath an open sky. Heaven has never been far. The distance you feel is only silence waiting to be seen. The stars seem to pulse now, faint but rhythmic. You wonder if they've been singing this whole time, if the universe hums with praise too low for us to hear. You imagine each light as a heartbeat of creation, a reminder that everything around you was made from love and sustained by it still. You think about your prayers, the ones whispered into the night and never answered in the way you expected. Maybe they didn't vanish. Maybe they rose, like breath on glass, like light into sky, and heaven caught them, storing them for their appointed time. The window reminds you, unanswered doesn't mean unheard. You take a deep breath, and for a fleeting moment, you sense something vast beyond understanding, like the edge of peace too wide to see. The window is no longer just glass. It's invitation. You're not looking at heaven anymore. You're looking into it. You whisper softly, "Are you there?" And immediately, a quiet warmth moves through the air. It's not dramatic. It's familiar. Presence has answered, not with sound, but with closeness. You don't need words. You simply know. You rest your forehead against the cool pane, eyes half closed. The line between earth and heaven blurs. For a heartbeat, it feels as if both worlds overlap. Your breath and the stars in the same rhythm. Your pulse and the divine heartbeat aligned. The night stretches wide, and peace feels infinite. The window will close with morning, but what it showed, you will remain. Heaven isn't somewhere else. It's here, reaching through glass and silence, holding you even now. You turn from the window, heart lighter, and the stars seem to follow you back to bed. As you lie down again, The room feels different, warmer, nearer, holy. You smile in the half-darkness, whispering to the presence that never left. Hold me, Jesus. Somewhere beyond the horizon, light is beginning its slow ascent. You can't see it yet, but the air feels different, lighter, expectant, filled with the quiet certainty that night never lasts forever. The world is holding its breath, waiting for the first color to touch the sky. And though your eyes still rest in shadow, your heart already senses morning. You've lived through long nights before, the kind that stretch beyond hours into seasons. You've waited for breakthroughs, for answers, for relief that seemed endlessly delayed. But every dawn that ever came carried the same truth. Waiting is not wasted when it happens in faith. Light always keeps its promise. You think of the psalm, weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. It doesn't say joy might come. It says it will. That's the rhythm of grace. Sorrow may visit, but it never owns the house. It leaves when the sun rises. The first line of gold begins to edge the window. You watch as darkness starts to lose its confidence. The sky blushes, pale and slow, like the world remembering how to breathe. You realize that dawn doesn't fight the dark. It simply outshines it. That's how healing happens too. Quietly, persistently, one shade of light at a time. You recall moments in your life when you thought the night would never end. Heartbreak, loss, silence. Yet somehow, light always found you again. Maybe dawn isn't something that happens to the world. Maybe it happens inside you first. The warmth on your skin feels like a benediction, gentle and forgiving. The light doesn't ask where you've been. It's just glad you're here. It washes over your face, your hands, your heart, and whispers what every morning has whispered since creation began. You are still loved. You still belong. You are still mine. You realize that faith is less about certainty and more about endurance, the willingness to stand in the dark, believing that light is already on its way. Even when you can't see it, you hold on because love has never failed to keep its word. Birdsong begins in the distance, fragile but confident. The world wakes, and with it, so does gratitude. You stretch your hands toward the light, and it feels almost like prayer, unspoken but sincere. You don't need to say much. The dawn understands. The night didn't win. It never does. It simply gave the light a stage to return upon. Every day that follows will carry this quiet miracle, a promise fulfilled over and over again. And as the full sun breaks the horizon, flooding the room with gold, you whisper to the rising light, "Hold me, Jesus." It isn't a plea this time. It's thanksgiving. You have been kept through the night. You have been carried into morning. The morning settles gently now, golden light spilling across wood and linen. You find yourself standing before a small table, not grand or ornate, just simple and steady. Bread rests on a plate. A cup waits beside it. The air smells faintly of warmth and honey, like something sacred disguised as ordinary life. This is the table of mercy, and you are invited to sit. You take your seat, slowly. The chair creaks as if it's been waiting for you. The light moves across the table, catching the grain of the wood. making it shine like something ancient. You remember the words of Jesus at another table. Do this in remembrance of me. He wasn't speaking only of ritual. He was speaking of rest, of return, of coming home. Mercy isn't found in ceremony. It's found in presence. The bread before you reminds you that grace can be broken and still feed. The cup reminds you that love poured out never runs dry. These aren't just symbols. They're reminders that what was once given is still giving, moment by moment, heartbeat by heartbeat. You tear the bread gently. The sound is small, but it fills the silence. You taste it, and it feels like memory. Soft, familiar, whole. You lift the cup, and as the liquid touches your lips, warmth spreads through you like forgiveness made tangible. This is what mercy does. It doesn't erase the past. It transforms it. You think of the countless tables you've sat at, some filled with laughter, others with loneliness. But this one is different. Here, you are not a guest. You are family. There's no need to perform, no expectation to impress. Mercy doesn't require manners. It only asks honesty. You close your eyes and listen to the stillness around you. It hums like quiet gratitude. You realize that this table has no end. It stretches beyond your sight, reaching all who have ever hungered for grace. You are part of something vast, a fellowship of the forgiven. When you open your eyes again, you imagine the shepherd sitting across from you. His expression is neither stern nor distant. It's soft, knowing, and full of affection. He doesn't say, "You should have done better." He says, "I'm glad you came." You feel tears rise, but they don't sting. They heal. The cup in your hand trembles slightly, and you understand why. Mercy always surprises us, even when we think we know it. You rest your hands on the table, the last warmth of the bread still in your palms. Everything you were ashamed of, every regret that clung to you, seems to dissolve under that mercy. The table remains, the light remains, the love remains. You stay there a while longer, not speaking, not rushing. The world beyond the walls can wait. For now, you sit in grace, nourished and whole, whispering one simple prayer that seems to rise like incense from your chest. Hold me, Jesus. The day has quieted again. The golden light that once filled the room now stretches long and soft across the ground. You step outside and feel the gentle pull of something beyond sight, a road that disappears into mist. It isn't marked or mapped. It winds through fields and valleys, curving into the horizon where the eye can't follow. This is the unseen road, and you've been walking it longer than you know. You pause at the edge, uncertain. The path looks too faint to trust, but somewhere deep inside, you remember a promise. We walk by faith, not by sight. That's what this road requires. Not certainty, but surrender. Each step will appear only when you take it. You breathe in, slow and careful. The air smells of rain and earth and newness. It feels like the world is whispering encouragement. Keep going. You glance back for a moment, and the trail behind you is already fading, as if to remind you that yesterday no longer defines you. The way forward is grace renewed. The unseen road is not empty. You hear the sound of quiet footsteps beside you. Sometimes you doubt they're real, but then a breeze moves in rhythm with your pace, and peace settles around you like a cloak. You realize you've never walked alone, not once, not even when you thought you had. The path winds through silence and sunlight, through stretches where joy is easy and others where shadows stretch tall. But every curve holds purpose. You may not understand it yet, but faith is not about having explanations. It's about having companionship. You remember Abraham, leaving everything familiar for a land he couldn't yet see. You remember the disciples, following Jesus down roads they didn't recognize. The unseen road has always been the road of trust. You are part of that same story, guided by the same love. When fear whispers that you might lose your way, lift your eyes. Somewhere ahead, even through fog, there's a faint glimmer, light breaking through like a lantern carried by unseen hands. That light is your reminder. Every step you take, He's already there. Sometimes you stumble. Sometimes you stop, unsure. But even then, progress is happening. Faith grows not in the sprint, but in the stillness between steps. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be. And as you keep walking, the mist begins to thin. You see hints of color returning to the sky, paths of gold and green weaving through the distance. It's enough to remind you that unseen doesn't mean unknown. What waits ahead is held by the same hands that carried you here. So you keep walking, not because you know where it ends, but because you know who walks beside you. The unseen road may twist and fade, but it always leads home. There are moments when words stop working. You've prayed all you know how to pray, spoken every need, confessed every fear, asked for strength until the asking itself feels tired. What's left after that? Only breath, a quiet inhale, a slower exhale. The pause between prayers becomes its own kind of worship. You realize now that prayer was never about eloquence. It was about awareness, turning your face toward love, even when you have nothing left to say. The scriptures remind you, the Spirit Himself makes intercession for us with groanings which cannot be uttered. That means even silence can pray. Even breathing can believe. So you stop searching for new words. You let your lungs do the praying. Inhale mercy. Exhale fear. Inhale peace. Exhale control. Each breath becomes a soft rhythm of surrender, a quiet reminder that God doesn't require speeches, just honesty. The room is still. You hear your heart beat, slow and faithful, and it sounds like a song, steady, ancient, unhurried. You realize this is how creation prays too. Trees sway, oceans breathe, stars hum. Everything that lives participates in the same holy rhythm, receiving and releasing, giving and resting. You think of Jesus withdrawing to lonely places to pray, not always speaking, sometimes just being. He wasn't escaping people. He was returning to presence. Tonight, you follow His example. You don't need to be loud to be heard. Heaven leans close to quiet hearts. The breath between prayers is where transformation happens. It's where worry dissolves, where striving softens, where you remember that faith isn't built in noise, but in stillness. You can almost feel grace rising with each inhale, settling deeper with each exhale, like light filling a room one corner at a time. You whisper a single word, not even a request, just a name, Jesus. The sound barely leaves your lips, but it feels enough. Everything you need is already contained in that name. Peace, strength, forgiveness, rest. It's all there. Another breath, another prayer without words. You begin to understand something profound. Maybe the spaces between prayers are not empty pauses. Maybe they are where heaven breathes back. Your body softens, your thoughts drift, and still the rhythm continues. Inhale grace, exhale gratitude. The divine and the human meet here in this quiet exchange of breath and trust. And as sleep starts to fold over you, you don't try to resist it. You let it come. You let it carry your last unspoken prayer upward, into the dark that is not dark to him. Between one breath and the next, peace answers. The world outside has changed again. The air holds that deep, calm hush that comes just before rain. You hear the first drop tap against the window, then another and another, soft, measured, patient. Soon, the rhythm grows steady, filling the silence like a slow heartbeat from heaven. The rain is not fierce, it's tender. It doesn't fall to break, it falls to bless. You listen closely, and the sound begins to wash through you. Each drop feels like forgiveness landing softly on the earth. The ground doesn't resist, it simply receives. Maybe that's the secret of peace, learning to receive without fear. You can be like the soil tonight, open, unguarded, ready. The scriptures whisper, "He shall come down like rain upon the mown grass, as showers that water the earth." That's what grace feels like right now, steady nourishment for what was tired, dry, forgotten. You don't need to do anything for it to work. You just need to stay still long enough to let it in. You close your eyes. The scent of rain fills the air, a mixture of earth and renewal. It reminds you that even what was once parched can bloom again. There's something holy about this kind of weather. It teaches you that refreshment doesn't always arrive with noise or drama. Sometimes it comes drop by drop, moment by moment, until you realize you've been healed. As the rain falls, memories surface, times when you felt too dry to hope, too weary to pray. Yet even then, grace found ways to reach you, through a kind word, a sunrise, a quiet assurance that you weren't forgotten. That same grace is falling now, patient as water finding its way through stone. You notice the drops racing each other down the glass, merging, separating, shimmering. They remind you of people, each with their own journey, each part of a greater stream. The rain never competes, it simply joins. Maybe that's what love looks like too. The sound deepens, wrapping the night in rhythm. It's not just rain anymore, it's music. Every tap against the roof carries a message. You are being renewed. You are being restored. What was brittle is softening. What was silent is learning to sing again. You breathe it in, the scent, the sound, the softness. The room feels washed. Your thoughts feel lighter. You realize that peace isn't something you achieve. It's something that falls on you when you stop trying to control the clouds. Eventually, the rain begins to slow, tapering into a whisper. You smile, in the half-dark, whispering your own small prayer to the fading rhythm. Let your peace fall on me like rain, gentle and sure. And as the last drops land, you sense that they aren't gone. They've only begun their next work, sinking deep into the earth, into you, into everything that still dares to hope. The rain has ended, leaving behind a tender hush. The air feels rinsed, the ground darker and alive. And somewhere nearby, a small house waits with its windows glowing softly. You step toward it, drawn not by curiosity, but by calm. The door opens without sound, as if expecting you. Inside, the air is warm and slow, the kind of quiet that holds rather than empties. You've arrived at the house of stillness. You cross the threshold and feel something shift inside you. It isn't dramatic. It's peace deep enough to be physical. The world outside fades into a memory of sound, replaced by this holy silence that breathes. A fire murmurs in the corner, not to impress, but to comfort. Its flames sway like prayer in motion, steady, unforced, eternal. You sink into a chair by the hearth. The cushion exhales under your weight, and for the first time in days, your shoulders drop completely. The stillness doesn't demand that you think or even feel. It simply holds you, the way the ocean holds a single drop of water, without question, without condition. You notice the faint tick of a clock, each beat spaced far apart. Time itself seems slower here. You realize that stillness isn't the absence of motion. It's movement aligned with peace. You don't need to rush through it. You are safe enough to stay. You remember the scripture. In returning and rest, you shall be saved, and quietness and confidence shall be your strength. The words feel different here, alive in the air. Quietness doesn't weaken you. It restores you. The house of stillness is not a retreat from the world. It's a reminder of what sustains you within it. You close your eyes and listen to the quiet speak. It tells you that you don't have to perform to be loved. It reminds you that rest isn't laziness. It's obedience to the rhythm of grace. Every creature, every wave, every breath obeys that rhythm. Tonight, you join it fully. Somewhere, the floor creaks softly, as if the house itself were sighing in contentment. You realize you've become part of the stillness. You are not visiting it. You are inhabiting it. The peace you sought was never outside. It was the home built inside your spirit long ago. You breathe out slowly, eyes half open, and see the glow of the fire reflected in the window. Outside, stars have returned, patient as ever. Inside, the silence has shape, weight, warmth. You don't try to describe it. Some things are meant only to be felt. You whisper a final thought, more gratitude than request. Thank you for stillness that finds me when I forget to stop searching. The flames answer with a soft crackle, and you smile. The house hums with quiet life. You are safe, surrounded by peace, completely and beautifully still. The night deepens again, but this time the dark doesn't feel heavy. It feels vast, like a quiet invitation. You leave the house of stillness and follow a narrow path lit by silver moonlight. After a short while, the path opens to a bridge spanning a gentle river. The water moves slowly beneath you, glimmering with light that seems to come from nowhere. This is the bridge of trust, the place between fear and faith. You step onto the wood, feeling it gives slightly under your weight. The bridge doesn't promise certainty. It promises passage. You can't see the far side clearly, but you can hear it calling softly. Trust isn't knowing where the bridge leads. It's believing that it was built to hold you. You take a few more steps. Each one creaks quietly, like a heartbeat learning a slower rhythm. Beneath your feet, the water flows steady, undisturbed. It carries reflections of stars and clouds and unseen depths. You realize that the current of life has always been moving, even when you were afraid to step out. The scripture comes to mind. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. You repeat it silently, matching the words to your breathing. It's less of a command now, and more of a comfort. Trust isn't blind. It's a way of seeing beyond sight. You reach the middle of the bridge and pause. The wind brushes past your face, cool and clean. For a moment, doubt stirs. What if you fall? But then you remember you've fallen before, and grace has always caught you. The bridge may sway, but the hands that built it never fail. You lean on the railing and look down. The river glows faintly, carrying silver ripples towards somewhere unseen. It feels like watching your own life flow, sometimes calm, sometimes quick, but always moving forward. You don't control the current. You only walk where love leads. If trust had a sound, it would be this: the gentle hum of water meeting wood, the steady rhythm of steps continuing even when the way is dim. You don't need to run. You just need to move. Halfway across, peace settles over you like a cloak. The fear of not knowing fades, replaced by a quiet awe at the one who always knows. The bridge no longer feels narrow. It feels endless, like the path of faith itself, stretching into eternity, built plank by love. You finally see the faint glow of the far side, where the land meets the sky. The destination isn't grand. It's familiar. It's home. You smile, realizing you were never in danger. You were simply being taught how to walk in trust again. You take the last few steps, steady and sure. Behind you, the bridge hums softly, as if blessing your passage. Ahead, peace waits like a friend. You whisper into the awkward air, letting the night carry your words across the river. Hold me, Jesus. Teach me to trust you more. The bridge fades behind you, swallowed by mist and moonlight. Ahead, the air feels cooler, touched by a faint scent of cedar and smoke. You follow the path until you see it, a small fire burning in the distance. Its glow flickers warm against the dark, steady but gentle, like a heartbeat in the wilderness. You walk toward it, drawn not by curiosity but by comfort. The closer you come, the more alive it feels. Sparks rise and vanish into the night, each one a whisper of warmth meeting the cold. The fire doesn't roar. It hums. It doesn't demand attention. It invites presence. You settle beside it, stretching your hands toward the glow, and feel the chill begin to fade from your bones. This is the fire of remembrance, the place where you remember how far you've come, how many nights like this you've survived. You remember the times you thought the light would never return, and yet it always did. Every ember here is a story of grace that refused to go out. You think of Peter, sitting by a fire on the night of his denial, and then later by another fire when Jesus restored him. The same warmth that revealed his failure also renewed his faith. That's what the fire in the distance means. It's mercy that meets you twice, once in your weakness and once in your return. The wood cracks softly, a spark leaps upward, and for a moment the world seems suspended. Time slowed, peace absolute. You realize you're not alone. There's a presence sitting beside you, unseen yet undeniable. No condemnation, no lecture, only companionship. You don't speak. You don't need to. The silence between you feels like prayer. The flames dance and shift, casting light on your hands. You notice the small scars, the evidence of everything you've carried and released. Under this light, even your flaws look redeemed. The fire doesn't judge what it illuminates. It sanctifies it. You lean back, listening to the rhythm of burning wood. It sounds like a heartbeat, yours and his, perfectly aligned. For the first time in a long while, you feel warm all the way through. Not from the fire, but from peace rekindled deep inside. You understand now. Faith is like this fire. It doesn't always blaze. Sometimes it simply glows, waiting through wind and weather, holding on until morning. You don't need to make it burn brighter. You only need to stay near enough to feel its heat. You close your eyes. The warmth lingers even as sleep begins to gather at the edges. The fire will keep burning through the night, steady as grace, sure as sunrise. And just before rest claims you, you hear the crackle form words, not in sound, but in knowing. I was here before you came, and I'll be here when you wake. The fire fades into memory as you rise, the warmth still lingering on your hands. The night air feels cool again, but not empty. Ahead, down a narrow path lit by starlight, you see a small cottage with a single door glowing faintly gold around the edges. It doesn't look grand or distant. It looks welcoming, lived in, familiar. You walk toward it, your steps slow, your heart quiet. The closer you get, the more you notice something strange. The door is already open, not wide, not forced, just open. You pause, unsure whether to knock, but a voice inside your spirit answers before you can speak. You never have to knock here. You step across the threshold. The air is warm, like the inside of a memory. The scent of bread and cedar lingers, and somewhere a candle burns low, steady in its flame. You realize this isn't just a house, it's a heart, his heart, and you are home within it. You spent years thinking you had to earn this entry, to fix yourself, to prove your worth, to apologize enough times. But this door has never been locked. It was never about permission. It was always about trust. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. Tonight, you finally opened, and discovered that he had already opened first. You glance back, expecting to see the hinges or handle, but there's nothing. The door blends into light, as if to remind you that love doesn't trap, it welcomes. The walls of this place don't confine, they comfort. You wander through quiet rooms filled with peace. On the table lies a folded cloth and a loaf of bread. On the wall hangs a lamp that never dims. You touch its base, and warmth spreads through your fingers. You realize it's not just light, it's belonging. The kind that doesn't flicker when you fail. The kind that doesn't fade when you forget. You sit down, letting the chair creak beneath your weight. The sound is friendly, grounding. You exhale deeply, releasing everything you carried to this moment. Fear, shame, restlessness, and the air seems to take it all. This house absorbs sorrow the way light absorbs shadow. Nothing wasted, nothing lost. You think of all the doors that closed before this one, the conversations that ended too soon, the goodbyes you didn't choose, the prayers that seemed unanswered. Then you realize this door was never among them. It's the one that stays open when all others close. You stand again and place your hand on the frame. The wood hums softly, like something alive. It's made not of walls, but of grace, wide enough to hold your whole story. Outside, dawn begins to color the horizon. You step to the doorway once more, and the light falls across your face. You understand now. This door doesn't lead out or in. It simply reminds you that love is both. You smile, whispering the only prayer that fits the moment. Thank you for never closing the door. And as you walk forward into the morning, you hear it behind you, soft, steady, eternal, staying open. Always, morning stretches across the land like a soft sigh. The air tastes new, fresh grass, dew, the faint sweetness of blooming things. You take a step and notice how light your body feels, how natural each breath has become. It's the simplest thing, and yet tonight you understand it differently. Breathing itself is grace. You're not forcing it. It's given freely. You pause, close your eyes, and listen to the rhythm. Inhale, exhale. Such an ordinary sound, and yet it's the quiet proof that you're still here. So much has changed. So much has been lost and healed. And through it all, this small miracle never stopped. You think of how often you've ignored it, rushing through days, holding your breath through pain. But now you know, each inhale is a gift, each exhale a release. The Psalm says, "Let everything that has breath praise the Lord." Not the perfect things, not the certain things, everything. The act of breathing becomes worship, wordless and steady. You don't need to raise your hands or find the right song. You only need to exist in gratitude. You take another deep breath. It feels like light filling your lungs, like peace entering every place that once held fear. You exhale slowly, and with it goes the weight of yesterday, the regrets, the self-doubt, the tension hiding behind your ribs. You don't have to control the rhythm. Grace does it for you. Somewhere, a small breeze moves through the trees, echoing your own breath. The leaves shimmer and sway, and it feels as if the whole world is breathing with you. Even creation is caught up in the same sacred pattern, receiving, releasing, resting. The earth has its own prayer, and you're part of it. You think of the times you felt broken beyond repair, when breathing hurt, when the next moment seemed impossible, yet here you are. The lungs still expand, the heart still beats, the spirit still moves. Survival itself is worship. Every breath is a reminder that God hasn't finished his work in you yet. You place a hand over your chest. Beneath your palm, warmth pulses slow and sure. You whisper quietly, "Thank you for this breath," and the next one, and the next. You realize you don't need to understand what's ahead. You only need to keep breathing in His peace. If anxiety creeps back, you return to the rhythm. Inhale mercy, exhale worry. Inhale hope, exhale control. You are being remade one breath at a time. You are safe enough to rest inside this living prayer. The wind grows softer. The sunlight reaches your face. You smile without trying. The day begins, and your first act of worship is simple, quiet, and holy. You breathe. You follow a narrow trail that opens into a vast meadow, glowing gold beneath the gentle sun. The grass sways like waves, each blade whispering its own small song. The wind carries the scent of wildflowers and rain left behind. This is the field of remembering, a place where memories are not heavy but holy, where the past breathes softly instead of shouting. You walk slowly, feeling the earth steady under your feet. For once, memory doesn't pull you backward. It walks beside you. The echoes of who you were blend peacefully with the rhythm of who you are becoming. The field doesn't judge your journey. It honors it. You think of the moments you tried to forget. Failures, heartbreaks, nights when faith felt too small to save you. But here, nothing is wasted. Even sorrow has roots. Every tear that ever fell became rain for this field. And now it blooms with what those storms left behind. A verse stirs in your heart. Remember all the ways the Lord your God has led you. The command isn't about guilt. It's about gratitude. Remembering doesn't reopen the wound. It reveals the healing. It shows how grace threaded through your story, sometimes quietly, sometimes with thunder, always faithfully. You kneel and run your fingers through the grass. Between each blade are seeds of memory, tiny, unseen, but alive. You realize that God has been planting good things in your life, even when you couldn't see the pattern. The field grows, not because you planned it, but because love never stopped tending it. A butterfly drifts past, fragile and free. You watch it for a while, smiling. It doesn't mourn the cocoon it left. It honors it by flying. That's what this field teaches. Remembering is not returning, it's redeeming. You close your eyes and picture your younger self, tired, uncertain, yet brave enough to keep going. You whisper softly, "You made it." And then you hear a gentler voice, older than time, echoing back, "Yes, and I carried you the whole way." You stay for a while, letting peace settle over you like sunlight through leaves. The field hums around you, a chorus of all the quiet miracles that brought you here. You no longer feel the need to fix the past. It has already done its work. As you rise to leave, the wind moves through the grass again, almost like applause. The sound follows you down the path, whispering gratitude for remembering. You walk on, lighter, knowing that everything behind you has already been folded into grace. The path begins to rise beneath your feet. The air grows thinner, cooler, clearer. Each step draws you higher, away from the noise of the world and closer to something vast. You don't rush. The climb is steady, deliberate, shaped by peace rather than urgency. This is the mountain of mercy, the place where forgiveness meets perspective, where you finally see how grace has carried you all along. The wind hums low through the rocks, brushing your face like a benediction. Below, the world stretches wide and hazy, filled with valleys you once thought you'd never escape. From up here, they look small, softened by distance and light. Every hard season now glows faintly gold in memory, like a scar kissed by sunlight. You realize mercy was climbing with you the entire time. You remember the scripture, "I will lift up my eyes to the hills, from whence comes my help. My help comes from the Lord." You repeat the words, not as a plea this time, but as praise. The one who lifted you didn't wait at the top. He walked every step beside you, even when your strength faltered. He bore your weight without complaint. Halfway up, you pause to rest. The air is quiet, except for the slow rhythm of your breath. A hawk circles high above, unhurried and sure. You smile, realizing that mercy has wings. It soars over the boundaries of your past, never bound by what you've done or left undone. When you begin climbing again, something inside you feels lighter. You're not chasing victory. You're walking in gratitude. Each step is its own prayer. Thank you for not letting go when I did. Thank you for seeing more in me than I saw in myself. The summit comes slowly, but when you reach it, you find no throne, no thunder, no spectacle, just a stone altar and open sky. The horizon stretches forever, painted in soft hues of gold and blue. It feels like standing in the heart of peace itself. You don't speak. You simply breathe. You kneel, placing your hands on the cool rock. It holds the warmth of the sun, like the memory of kindness that never fades. You whisper, "Mercy brought me here," and the wind seems to answer, "Mercy will carry you further." Tears come, quiet and easy, like spring rain. You let them fall. They aren't sadness. They're reliefs. Every regret, every self-accusation, every burden you once carried slides down the mountain, back into the valleys below, where grace will water new growth from old grief. You stay for a while, watching clouds drift by like gentle thoughts. The climb wasn't easy, but it was holy. The mountain doesn't demand perfection. It celebrates persistence. You didn't conquer it. You communed with it. And as you turn to descend, you feel mercy follow you, not behind, not above, but within. It's in your breath, your heartbeat, your steps. You smile softly, whispering into the vast air. Hold me, Jesus. Thank you for the mountain and for the mercy that made it possible. The descent from the mountain is quiet, each step carrying the echo of peace. The air grows warmer, and soon you hear the soft murmur of water winding through the valley below. The sound is familiar, like a song you once knew by heart. You follow it until the trees open to reveal a wide, slow-moving river. The surface glows with late sunlight, gold rippling over silver. This is the river of returning, the place where all wanderings come home. You kneel by the bank and watch the water move. It doesn't rush. It flows with purpose. Every drop finds its way, whether from mountain snow or distant rain. You realize your life has been like this river, twisting, detouring, sometimes hidden, yet always moving toward grace. Nothing was wasted. Even what felt lost has been flowing back toward love all along. You dip your hands into the current. It's cool and steady, and it carries away the dust from the climb. The feeling isn't just physical, it's spiritual, like the cleansing of every place within you that still clung to fear. The scripture stirs in your memory. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. You whisper it aloud, and the words ripple across the water like a blessing. For a while, you just sit there, feet in the river, listening. The sound is soft but unending. You realize that grace, too, is continuous. It never stops flowing, even when you step away for a while. You can always return, and it will always be here. You think about all the times you wandered, when faith felt far, when prayer felt hollow, when life felt too loud. Yet here you are, home again, not because you found your way perfectly, but because love never stopped calling you back. The shepherd's voice doesn't scold, it sings you toward stillness. You watch as leaves float by on the surface, each one carried effortlessly downstream. None of them struggle, none fight the current. You smile, realizing that peace works the same way. It carries you when you stop resisting. You lie back on the soft grass beside the riverbank, eyes half closed. Overhead, the sky glows with the fading light of evening. Everything feels slower now. The heartbeat, the breath, the thoughts. The river speaks in a language older than words. You are forgiven. You are found. You can rest now. The water keeps flowing, past you, around you, beyond you. It carries stories from countless lives, countless returns. You realize you're part of that sacred stream, another soul carried home by the same eternal mercy. As the sun dips lower, painting the river in fire and gold, you whisper into the wind, I'm home. And somewhere in the flow, gentle and certain, a voice answers, you always were. Night begins to gather once more, but it feels softer now, like velvet drawn over the sky. The stars return one by one, slow and patient, their glow reflected in the river that hums quietly beside you. Everything feels suspended in calm. You sit there, hands folded loosely, and realize that you are witnessing a miracle. Not loud, not spectacular, but the kind that moves like breath, unseen, yet undeniable. You think back to the days when you expected miracles to be grand. Parting seas, burning bushes, lightning in the dark. But tonight, you see it clearly. The greater miracles are the quiet ones. The ones that meet you in the ordinary. Breath that steadies after fear. Laughter that rises after sorrow. Peace that returns when logic says it shouldn't. A scripture rises gently in your memory. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? You smile, because you do. You perceive it now. The new thing isn't always a change in circumstance. It's the change within you. The heart that once panicked now trusts. The soul that once feared silence now rests in it. That's a miracle. The wind moves lightly through the trees, brushing the river's surface. You watch as tiny ripples spread outward, touching everything they meet. That's what grace does. Quietly, faithfully, without announcement. It doesn't ask permission to heal. It simply begins. You lift your face to the sky. The stars seem closer tonight, almost watchful, as if creation itself were holding its breath in reverence. Every shimmer above you feels like a whisper of gratitude for life, for mercy, for another chance. You realize the miracle isn't that you survived the night. It's that your heart can still love after the darkness. You look at your hands, ordinary, scarred, alive. These are the same hands that once trembled under the weight of worry, now steady and open. They've held pain and release, loss and hope, and still they rise in peace. That too is holy. Sometimes the miracle isn't the mountain moving. It's that you finally stopped trying to move it yourself. You learned to wait, to trust, to believe that stillness is not surrender, but sacred strength. The miracle is that you've learned to stay. The river keeps murmuring beside you. The stars keep breathing their quiet light. And somewhere deep inside, you hear your own heartbeat syncing with creation. For the first time, it all feels connected. The heaven above, the earth below, the love within. You close your eyes and whisper, "Thank you for the quiet miracles, the ones that find me, even when I don't know to look." The words drift upward like a soft release, joining the rhythm of the night. And as you lie back in the grass, the sky wide above you, you feel the truth settle deep. You don't need signs or wonders. You are the wonder, still breathing, still loved, still held. The night deepens, and the river fades into stillness. The air cools, brushing softly against your skin. Far ahead, along the winding path, a small light flickers through the dark, delicate but unwavering. You rise and walk toward it, guided by instinct more than sight. Each step crunches faintly against the earth, and with each one, the glow grows warmer. This is the lantern of hope, small enough to hold in your hands, bright enough to guide a lifetime. You kneel beside it. The flame dances inside a simple glass shell, trembling slightly with the wind, but never going out. You can feel its warmth from where you sit. You realize that hope is just like this lantern. It doesn't chase away the night. It gives you enough light to keep walking through it. You remember how many times you thought your hope had gone out. Seasons when prayers seemed unanswered, when silence stretched too long, when your heart forgot the sound of joy. But hope, you see now, never truly dies. It hides, waits, and then, one night like this, it flickers again. The scripture whispers in your heart. We have this hope as an anchor for the soul, firm and secure. You look at the small flame and understand it isn't fragile, it's faithful. Hope doesn't depend on how steady your hands are. It burns because grace keeps feeding it, unseen but constant. You cup your palms around the lantern, protecting it from the wind. The glass glows, painting your skin in gold. You feel warmth spread through your fingers, then your chest, then your breath. It's quiet, but it's alive. You whisper, "I'm still here," and the flame answers silently, "So am I." You sit there a while, letting the light wash over you, around you. The night stretches endless and vast, but it doesn't feel empty anymore. You realize that hope doesn't erase darkness, it transforms it. The night itself becomes holy, sacred ground where faith glows brightest. You lift the lantern and hold it close to your heart. Its glow spills across the path ahead. Just a few steps, no more. But that's enough. You don't need to see the whole way. You just need to know that you're not lost. A soft breeze moves through the trees. making the flame sway. It bends, but does not break. That's the beauty of hope. It learns to dance with the wind instead of fighting it. You smile, realizing that what once felt fragile has become strong. You stand, lantern in hand, and take another step into the dark. The ground beneath you is sure, the air gentle, the silence kind. The light glows ahead of you like a promise that can't be broken. And somewhere deep inside, you hear it again, the same quiet truth that has followed you from the beginning. Hold me, Jesus. Lead me by your light. The path narrows again, winding through a low valley blanketed in fog. The air grows cool and soft, carrying the faint scent of rain-soaked wood and wild thyme. The lantern's glow cuts through the haze just enough for you to see a few steps ahead. You move slowly, listening to the quiet drip of water from unseen branches. Then, through the mist, a faint outline begins to appear. A small stone chapel, its walls weathered, its steeple lost in the clouds. You pause before the doorway. The heavy wooden door is open, not wide, but enough to reveal a golden flicker within you. You step closer, and the fog follows like a veil drawn gently behind you. Inside, the chapel feels timeless. The air is cool, filled with the scent of candle wax and old prayers. You can almost hear them, the whispers of countless hearts that have stood here before you, each one bringing its own silence, its own hope. You walk between rows of wooden pews, the lantern still in your hand. The stone floor creaks under your steps. At the front, a single candle burns on the altar, small yet steady, echoing the flame you carry. It's as if the two lights recognize each other. You kneel there, and words don't come at first. You just breathe. The fog outside presses softly against the windows, turning the light a muted silver. The world feels distant now, like it's waiting respectfully beyond these walls. Here, you are not asked to perform. You are asked to rest. The scriptures whisper through your memory, "Be still, and know that I am God." In this place, those words feel alive. Stillness isn't emptiness here. It's presence. It's the kind of peace that doesn't arrive with trumpets, but with breath, slow and deep and sure. You bow your head and let your thoughts settle. Everything you've carried, the questions, the waiting, the wondering, finds its way into the silence. And then, in the hush, you hear it. A voice so gentle you almost mistake it for your own. "I've been here the whole time." You lift your head. The candle flickers, and for a heartbeat, you could swear it brightens. You don't need to see anyone to know that love fills this room, thick and living, like light itself has taken form. Tears come quietly, the kind that cleanse without effort. You let them fall. The voice speaks again, softer still. "You may leave this chapel, but you will never leave my presence." The words sink deep, wrapping around your soul like warmth on a cold morning. You stand slowly, place your hand on the altar, and whisper, "Thank you for meeting me in the fog." The silence answers with a peace so profound it feels like music. As you turn to leave, the candle still burns, faithful, unmoved. The fog parts just enough for you to see the path ahead. You step out, lantern in hand, carrying the quiet of the chapel within you. And though the mist closes behind you, the light never leaves. The fog thins as you walk, curling away like breath fading into morning. You follow the path until it opens into an old stone corridor. A soft light glows at the far end, beckoning you onward. You step quietly, the echo of your footsteps weaving through the stillness. When you reach the end, a wooden door waits, simple, unadorned. You push it open, and the hinges sigh like a memory exhaling. Inside, the room feels alive with presence, though no one else is here. It's circular, domed, built of smooth gray stone that catches light in soft glimmers. You take a few steps, and your movement sends a faint echo swirling around the room. It's gentle, more like a whisper returning home than a sound rebounding. You stop, listen, and realize that this is not an ordinary space. This is the room of gentle echoes. You speak a word, just one. Peace. It drifts outward, touches the wall, and comes back to you. Not exactly the same. It returns deeper, slower, softer, as if the room itself has blessed it before handing it back. You try another, grace. Again, it returns, warmed, tender, full. You smile. The echoes here don't mock or magnify. They heal. They take what you give and return it whole. You think of how life has its own echoes, times when words you spoke in love came back years later in kindness, or when forgiveness whispered into emptiness found its way back through unexpected mercy. God's voice moves like that too. It fills the space between asking and answering. You take a seat on the floor, cross-legged, lantern beside you. The stone feels cool, grounding. You whisper another word, thank you. The sound lingers, rising gently toward the ceiling before descending again, wrapping around you like a soft shawl. Gratitude always multiplies in return. A verse comes to mind. The words of the Lord do not return void, but accomplish what he pleases. You realize it applies not just to prophecy, but to prayer. Every word of hope, every cry of faith, none of it vanished. It all found its way back, reshaped in love. You close your eyes, and the room hums faintly with all the echoes left behind by those who came before. Whispers of comfort, of trust, of release. It feels like sitting inside centuries of faith, layered like music that never stopped playing. You speak once more, this time barely above a breath. Hold me, Jesus. The words drift upward, circle the room, and when they return, they feel different, larger, deeper, infused with peace. The echo no longer sounds like your voice. It sounds like his. You stay for a while, breathing in that soundless comfort. When you finally rise, the air around you feels lighter, the silence warmer. You know the echoes will remain long after you leave, repeating softly into eternity. Peace, grace, thank you, love. The air changes again as you leave the stone corridor. The sky is beginning to dim, painted with colors too soft to name, lavender, gold, and a quiet kind of blue that seems to breathe on its own. The world is exhaling, and you can feel it. Every sound grows gentle, every motion slows. This is the hour when the day lays itself down in peace, the hour held tenderly in the hands of evening. You walk along a path of smooth earth, bordered by tall grass that glows faintly in the fading light. The wind moves through it in slow waves, like a mother smoothing the edge of a blanket. Above, The first stars wake, patient and bright. You can almost hear the universe humming its nightly lullaby. You pause, breathing in deeply. The air tastes like warmth cooling, like endings that don't hurt anymore. Somewhere far away, a bird calls once and then goes silent. The moment stretches, perfect and whole. You realize you're standing in one of those thin places between earth and heaven, where everything feels close, where you don't have to reach for God because He's already here. You remember the verse, "From the rising of the sun to its setting, the name of the Lord is to be praised." The words take on new meaning as you watch the last light bow behind the hills. The day itself becomes worship. The beginning, the middle, the end, all held together by unseen hands. You sit on a smooth stone and watch as the light fades. Shadows lengthen, not with fear, but with comfort. Darkness no longer feels like absence. It feels like rest arriving on time. The hands of evening gather the world the way a shepherd gathers his flock. No one forgotten, nothing rushed. You think of everything this day held, your steps, your prayers, your silence, your breath, and realize none of it was wasted. Each moment was noticed, counted, carried. The one who measures the stars also measures your size, and both matter equally to Him. A cool wind brushes your cheek, and it feels almost human, gentle, intentional. Maybe that's how grace touches us, not through spectacle, but through the quiet brush of air that reminds us we're not alone. You lean into it slightly, whispering, "Thank you for today, for every moment you held that I didn't see." The sky deepens to indigo now. The first firefly appears, blinking softly near your knee, then another and another. The whole field begins to glow. Tiny lights in a vast night. Proof that even in darkness, something beautiful still moves. You close your eyes, letting the wind, the light, and the hush cradle you. The hands of evening hold everything, the world, your worries, your weariness, and they do not let go. You rest there, in the twilight between what was and what will be, wrapped in the steady kindness of now. Night has settled fully now, and the air feels hushed, as though even time itself has slowed to listen. You lie back in the grass, the lantern beside you dimming to a soft pulse. Above, the sky spreads endless and deep, its stars shimmering like distant prayers, quiet, constant, eternal. A cool breeze moves through your hair, brushing away the last thoughts of the day. This is the hour of surrender, when consciousness loosens its grip and the soul begins to wander gently beneath the veil of dreams. You close your eyes, and the darkness inside them feels different now, not empty, but alive. It hums faintly, like the inside of a seashell echoing faraway tides. You sense that God lingers even here, waiting just beyond thought, speaking not in words, but in warmth. The verse comes softly to mind. He gives His beloved sleep. You let that promise settle deep, a benediction written across your breath. The first threads of dreaming begin to weave through your mind, colors shifting, images blooming and fading. You see rivers you once crossed, faces you once loved, places that only exist in memory but still feel like home. Yet everything is softer here, washed in peace. Even the memories that once hurt have lost their sharpness. Grace has walked through them, leaving light in its wake. You realize that this in-between place, half waking, half dreaming, is holy too. It's where heaven brushes against earth, where the soul remembers what the body forgets. You drift further, each breath a bridge between now and eternity. The veil grows thinner. You sense wings moving somewhere nearby, not flapping, but folding in perfect rhythm. You feel held, as though invisible hands have cupped your spirit gently, keeping it safe for the night. There is no fear here, no striving, only stillness, only love. You see light, but it isn't from the lantern or the stars. It's the kind that shines from within, from the center of your being. It pulses with the same rhythm as your heartbeat, glowing softly with each inhale. The light whispers, "I am with you always." Your body grows heavier, your mind lighter. The veil drapes lower, and you sink deeper into its warmth. The dreams waiting beyond are not escapes but invitations, doors into rest, into healing, into the quiet conversation between your soul and the one who never sleeps. Just before you cross completely into sleep, you hear it again. Faint, familiar, like an echo wrapped in love. "Hold me, Jesus." But this time, it isn't you speaking. It's the world itself whispering back, as if all creation joins your prayer. You smile in the dark. The veil closes softly, and the night cradles you like a lullaby. Somewhere beyond, the stars keep watch. Somewhere nearer still, grace keeps breathing with you. Sleep takes you gently, yet somewhere inside that rest, awareness lingers, a quiet sense of walking again. Though your body lies still, you find yourself passing to a soft light, neither morning nor evening, only endless calm. The air carries the scent of dew and jasmine, cool and alive. Ahead, a gate of woven branches stands open, and beyond it glows a vast and silent garden. You step inside. Moonlight spills like silver honey across the leaves. The grass beneath your feet feels warm, as if it remembers the sun. You realize this is not a dream meant to fade. It's a glimpse of what waits beyond worry and time, the garden beyond night. The paths here are lined with lilies and wild roses. They do not wither. The petals hold light as if each one has its own small flame. You reach out to touch them, and they hum faintly under your fingers. Every color seems to breathe. Every shadow feels kind. There's no rush here, no hunger, no distance, just wholeness. A river runs through the center of the garden, clear as glass and quiet as prayer. You kneel beside it and see your reflection, not tired, not anxious, but radiate, alive. The water moves without sound, and when you touch it, it feels like peace in liquid form. You understand that this place isn't separate from life. It's what life longs to become. You hear soft footsteps behind you. Turning, you see no figure, yet you feel presence approach, gentle as morning light. The air warms around you, and a voice, not spoken, but felt, fills your spirit. You've come so far. Rest now. The words settle deeper than thought. You sit in the grass. The breeze moves through the garden in slow waves, bending the flowers as if in worship. Every living thing here seems to know you, not by name, but by heart. It's the recognition of something made from the same love. You breathe it in, and for the first time, you feel completely whole. You remember the words from Revelation, "Behold, I make all things new." Here, that promise is not poetry, it's reality. Every loss has found its balance, every tear its meaning. Even the broken pieces of your story have become mosaics of light. Nothing hurts here, nothing hides. You close your eyes, and a warmth spreads from your chest outward, gentle and total. You whisper, "Thank you for the garden beyond night, for what is, for what was, and for what's still to come." The wind answers in fragrance, the scent of rain, of earth, of eternity. Above, the stars shimmer like seeds scattered into endless soil, ready to bloom. You rest there, in the garden's heart, breathing peace that feels older than time. And as the dream deepens, the voice returns one last time, soft as dawn. "Sleep, beloved, you are home." The garden fades, not in darkness, but in light, soft, expanding, endless. It's as if dawn itself is rising from within you rather than around you. The colors are weightless, like breath made visible. Gold that calms, blue that soothes, white that glows with memory. You stand at the edge of something vast and familiar. The air feels new, yet ancient, like the very first morning of creation. You realize you are still dreaming, yet it no longer feels like sleep. It feels like waking into truth. The ground beneath your feet is alive, pulsing with warmth, and every sound, the breeze, the distant song of unseen birds, carries the same quiet message: all is well. Ahead, light ripples like water, and you step into it. It doesn't blind, it embraces. It moves through you, revealing not flaws but the beauty that has been there all along. You've carried eternity inside you this whole time. Now, it unfolds, gentle as sunrise. The words rise unbidden from your heart. "Behold, the dwelling of God is with men." They don't echo, they settle. You feel their truth in every cell of your being. Heaven was never far away. It was waiting beneath the noise, inside the silence, in every breath you took. You walk forward, though there is no path, only radiance. The light grows warmer, wrapping you in golden calm. You see shapes forming, mountains that gleam like crystal, rivers clear as song, fields of color too deep for names, yet none of it overwhelms you. You belong here. You always have. You think of everyone you've loved, everyone you've prayed for. In this light, love itself becomes visible, woven through everything, binding all things without chains. No good thing has been lost. It has simply changed form. Every kindness, every prayer, every small act of faith still lives here, glowing. You raise your face toward the horizon, and there it is, the morning of forever. It isn't a single sun, but a great living light that fills every direction. It moves like breath through creation, whispering peace into every shadow. You realize there will be no more night, only this, only light. A voice comes again, not distant this time, but close, within. You have walked through valleys and rivers, through silence and song. You have learned rest. Now, live in it. The sound is love speaking itself. You fall to your knees, not from fear, but from awe. The light folds around you like a mantle, soft and infinite. You whisper the only words that remain, trembling yet sure. "Hold me, Jesus." And the answer comes, not in words, but in being. You are held. Completely, always. The light rises, brighter, purer, alive, and everything becomes still. The morning stretches beyond measure, timeless and whole. This is not the end of the story. This is its beginning. The light softens once more, settling over everything like the hush that follows a song well sung. The morning fades into a calm that feels endless. Neither day nor night, only peace. You breathe it in, letting it fill the quiet corners of your soul. There's nothing left to strive for now, nothing to earn. Just rest. You feel his nearness, steady, familiar, eternal. The same presence that held you in the valley, that walked beside you through fog and river, now surrounds you completely. It isn't distant light anymore. It's warmth close enough to touch. Hold me, Jesus. The words rise again, not from longing now, but from love. He does. You feel it, the gentle strength that never leaves, never loosens, never asks you to deserve it. You are home in his hands. Every fear has fallen quiet, every question at peace. What's left is trust, pure and simple as breath. If your eyes grow heavy, let them. Sleep is sacred too. It's just another way of resting in his keeping. The same God who formed the stars guards you now, through dreams and dawn alike. You can let go. You are safe. You are loved. And when you wake, the world will still be held together by grace. The sun will rise, the wind will whisper, and mercy will find you again. It always does. So rest now. Let this be your prayer tonight, and every night that follows. Hold me, Jesus, until my heart remembers peace again. Good night, beloved. You are not alone. You never were. You never will be.